He was probably the first individual that pretty much told me that I have some talent. And from there, that kind of honed my personal appreciation for the game, making sure the kids of today's society can really feel that they have proper help and proper guidance moving into tomorrow.
Hi, welcome to The Journey. My name is Rowena Poitier-Sutherland, and you're tuned in to the Soul Center. Let's get centered together. Today, I have an amazing guest. His name is Ollen Smith, Coach O, as I call him. And this is really wonderful because I've made a new friend that I feel will be my friend for life. But he's a truly inspirational man, and he's a young man. And so I'm really excited to jump into your story, O. Welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
That's awesome. So a little bit about you for our audience. Coach O is a former basketball player turned coach, currently living in Canada, but originally from the Bahamas, born and raised. And so, we want to hear about your origin story. What was an event that has really shaped, or the event that has really shaped who you are as a man today and set you on this path?
I'll have to speak on my humble beginnings growing up in Centerville.
And Centerville is in Nassau Bahamas.
Centerville is in Nassau, Bahamas. Every Sunday morning, we have a group of guys go out on the park, and they play basketball from 6 straight into the wee hours of the late afternoons. And as a kid, I would always see that, and either waited my turn to be on the court, to be able to play with those guys, or to at least pretty much carry out the conversations, because grown men, they have a different kind of conversations from kids wanting to be around that. So seeing it firsthand was something that I wanted someday. I was already dreaming of being able to go on the court and play with those guys. And there was a neighbor, Rowena Poitier. He was probably the first individual that pretty much told me that I have some talent. And from there, that kind of honed my personal appreciation for the game, and then ventured into maybe I could take it a little more serious, follow up by training and doing some things of my own to see exactly how far I could go with it. And from that moment, I think it was a matter of just believing in myself in terms of how I can hone in on the sport itself. And from young, I kind of developed the, tangibles of becoming a leader.
Yeah.
And it kind of grew from there.
Yeah. Oh, what you do excites me so much because I'm passionate about young people. I'm passionate about actually shaping men. You know, I have a son. And so I am concerned about this world that he is growing up in. And, I think that it is great to have women in the household and to have mothers, strong mothers. We love our sons and we can pour into them, nurture them emotionally and mentally. But I think it is very important for being a man to be modeled by men to men.
Yes.
It's powerful. And you're just so inspiring. You have taken basketball and used it as a way to open up these young men, to help them become entrepreneurs, to help them to be discovered and get into leagues, to go to university. And I'm so curious as to how and why. And then I want to talk about, you're here for a specific reason.
Yes.
We'll segue into that. But that's just...
I have a quick story. I have a quick story about that. I was the lucky one. I was just explaining to the production crew. I was one of the lucky ones to be seen early enough to grasp attention from coaches locally and afar. And that was sort of the first steps of really honing in on who I can be and how I can be a true ambassador to the Bahamas. And when I had my first wake-up call was leaving the Bahamas, going to the States, and pretty much promising one of my best friends that they will soon follow. I'm going to make sure you get recruited too. I'm going to make sure you...
So why were you so sure about that statement?
Because I held to great precedence with the teams I was on and coaches pretty much echoed that belief of me saying that, hey, I can do certain things, and they would sign off on, hey, I could vouch for Ollen. And if they could vouch for me, they just figure, well, I could probably vouch for someone else of the same caliber. And one of the scariest things happened where when the opportunity came, when the friend of mine would have been able to get recruited, he got murdered. He got murdered in front of his porch. Just someone knocking on the door, he opens the door, shot in the head. And I think that was the first sort of wake-up call for me to, okay, we got to do something about community. Mm-hmm. We have to do something about the way young people deal with pretty much themselves in a way of action, and how they could reshape the way they go about their day-to-day. And it starts with consistency from mentors, consistency from father figures, and consistency from coaches. So when I had the call to say, play small roles in anything that would tie my name to an individual, it's either 100% or nothing at all.
Mm-hmm. Wow, this is powerful,
and it's real.
And I'm glad that you're giving back, and you've come back to the Bahamas. So I'm a part of an organization called Roots of Change, ROC, which is an NGO that supports and advocates for safe spaces for children, youth, and women, with the goal eventually being to have domestic safe homes across the archipelago of the Bahamas. And we have launched sustainable programs, and one is called the Mirror Mirror program.
Yes.
And the Mirror Mirror program is a 3-year mentorship program. So we reached out to some men, yourself included, and we said, hey, are you all on board to show up for these boys who come from children's homes, who come from urban communities, and to say, hey, I believe in you, and I am going to show up every day, or as much as I can. I'm here. I'm in your life. I'm going to open my network to you. I'm going to guide you. I'm going to teach you the things you need to know to be a man. Yes. And Melissa Allen Maynard is the founder of this organization, and she's just a fabulous leader.
She is.
And Melissa reached out to you, and you were like, cool.
Yeah. I mean, it was second nature. Yeah, it was second nature. I feel like, and I feel like I told you this before, I feel like this was the start of a domino effect. This is the start of not only me giving back, but it's very, very important to pretty much call out the things that's been hurting our community, and then creating something fresh and new that we can hold ourselves accountable for, by making sure the kids of today's society can really feel that they have proper help and proper guidance moving into tomorrow. So once the call came through, it was an easy yes for me, and I'm very happy to be a part of it.
Wonderful. Mm-hmm. You deal with young men. You mentioned a young man story. He opened the door, got shot, right? And you deal with boys who are coming from less than desirable circumstances. Yep. How do you deal with that? And I want to use this camp that you're currently doing. This is a camp in partnership with Kai Jones, the NBA player for the Charlotte Hornets. And I think we're on day 3. I got out in the news that this camp was happening. And we've seen boys who are just coming from so many varying circumstances, to the point that boys who are not a part of the program walked. There are 2 boys that I spoke to, walked from East Street South, which is a very long distance from the location that we're in. We've seen boys who don't have shoes, and they're saying, give me a chance. I want someone to show up for me. Like, just talk to me about that experience.
So this comes with stages, and I feel like it comes with stages. We have the very misconception that because it's in a facility like Kendall Isaac's Gymnasium, it's a basketball camp. The Mirror Mirror program is not focused solely on basketball. This is a reshaping imagery for how we can go from a full development of numerous things like sports, arts, technology, and then sports. So with those things, the basics of every single topic, every single area comes together to reshape that individual. Like in sports, like in basketball, we use a age bracket of what we think would be the best time to be trained, which would be between 8 and 12. Those are the areas where we could pretty much fix or rectify some of the things that would be developed into bad habits on the basketball court. But that's the same thing with life. Every single day so far this week, we've been focused on what some of the basics of how do you have a proper stance before you make a move. It's the same thing with life. Before you react to an action, you have to think about what you do. It's the same thing with sports. Defense have a certain form in front of you. Offense, you have to read that before you can make an action. So it's a lot of those similarities that we use from sports, and we put that in a teaching form. And I think it's been very successful so far to really hone in on exactly how to take those things from a fun environment and then translate that to the world, translate that to the communities. And day in, day out, since Monday to now, we've been getting a whole lot of questions regarding how can I utilize this particular skill set for what's coming tomorrow? Like, coach, I want to be able to do this. Monday, we didn't have that. Yesterday, I think, was the first sort of breakthrough with kids feeling a little bit frustrated from a competitive edge. And instead of lashing out, they actually took a step back and realized that, okay, before I do anything, let me just take a 2-minute breather. I actually had 2 people come to me directly and say, hey, coach, I need to take a walk or something. And I waited until afterwards to really find out exactly what was going on. He's like, well, coach, honestly, I probably would have hit that boy if I didn't walk away. So having those sort of things come to real life and real time is, I really believe it's a step in the right direction, not only for the Mirror program, but for the community.
So what's next for you, Coach O?
Oh,
seems like that's loaded.
That's a loaded one. I'll start by speaking a little bit about my wife. Brittany Ollen Smith is an incredible woman.
Yeah, she is.
And she was fortunate enough to find her way in an industry where it's male dominant. And she's been kicking butt, not only in the classroom, being the only female in the classroom with a bunch of men in Canada, just graduated with a construction engineering technology degree. It's a mouthful. Try saying that 3 times in a row. But
you are one man who is proud of his wife. I love this. I'm here for it.
Proud. And her being in that position, she got a job, and now she's going to be moving back to the Bahamas. So it kind of put a little pressure on me to figure out whether I would even want a chance staying in Canada for a bit longer. But I think the start of this program was the domino effect already in play. And I'm happy to say that I won't be in Canada for the upcoming winter. So I'll be moving back to the Bahamas as well to get a few projects of mine off the ground and tap into something called BASE. That will be a major sports event company that will pretty much launch very soon.
Okay. Well, if there's ever a time that you want to come and share about BASE, you're welcome to come on this platform. We'd love to have you. I'd like you to do something for me. Can you please look at that camera?
Okay.
And speak to young boys. You're no stranger to loss, and you have harnessed the loss that you have had in your life into something that is incredibly impactful and powerful. So the boys who are dealing with loss, who are dealing with disappointment, what would you say to them?
I'll say firstly that I have lost both parents, and I've lost friends. And there's something that I feel like you and I would have something to every day develop, work on, challenge ourselves with. And there's a quote, I am not sure where it's from. Success favors the brave. You can be brave in any environment, but as long as you challenge yourself, be consistent, And most importantly, be true to what you believe in. The world is yours. Just try and be yourself every day in terms of respecting everyone around you, and you'll be fine.
Thank you, Coach O. It's been wonderful getting centered with you.
Thank you.
And that's it for the Soul Center. Hopefully, you got centered.